Okay, students, it's page number 100. We'll start with, and good morning to all of you for your kind attention and those who are also aspiring for better future because the declaration of the result is coming very soon towards the afternoon and have attention towards your topic and pay the moral response by which we can be world builder. So what the topic is, given below are 8 paragraphs on an appeal from the World Wildlife Fund. The title of the passage is Save the Jungle, Save the World. Sital, that means we have told you earlier that our environment is complementary and supplementary to human life. Our sustaining ourselves in this environment by inquiring or imbibing ourselves, protecting our green life. So save the jungle. We must not support deforestation. We must have to observe anything through the idea of afforestation by which the earth life can be saved. The appeal is given in 8 sections, so far the topic is concerned. 8 sections are there from A to H. Arrange the sections in proper order to get the original passage. So far as the activity is concerned, we must have to first of all cover up almost all the paragraphs. Thereafter, we can arrange in a synchronical order how they can be well set out. What are the burning reasons that drive men to destroy our monumental inheritance? Men seldom does anything for entirely rational reasons. Usually, the less rational his reason, the more he defends them with short-term economic arguments. That is one of the modern lessons in ecology. Try to understand the paragraph relating to A. What are the burning reasons? What are the current or recent data that drive men to destroy our monumental heritage? Our monumental are nothing but our glory of our culture and how they can be protected. Man seldom does anything for entirely rational reasons. That means we are not judging, we are not choosing, we are not reproaching ourselves reasonably. What is the meaning of reasonably? On moral consciousness, considerably. When we are performing any task, when we are following any activities to fulfill our need, to fulfill our demand, to actually synchronize our basic needs, at the time we are becoming brutal, we are becoming unconscious. That must be done rational reasons. Usually, the less rational his reasons, that means when one is not considering it epidemiologically, it what happens to its moral condition is that the more he defends them with certain economic arguments, that means we are just fulfilling, we are getting the benefit of our economic needs within a short term. That means it is a transitory or a temporary. So when we are cutting down trees, actually to maintain our livelihood, it is not permanent, it is temporary. So we must have to plan certain ways. We must know how we can handle our actually knowledge, our technical know-how to utilize our resources or utilize our skill to earn our livelihood. That would be very difficult. But what happens to for our transitory benefit, for our temporary living condition, or to maintain our livelihood, we are destroying or causing harm to our environment. So, students, that is one of the modern lessons in ecology. Ecology, I have told you, is nothing but the science of environment and how the environment must be protected, how the environment will get certain type of protection by which our survival will be secured and will be long lasting. Second, B, we need the timber. We need the animals for food, pelts, and of course for sports continues our listen. We need the timber. First of all, try to understand it and consider from our moral point of view. We need the timber. We need the animals for food. Actually, we are using our timbers for fuel. When actually you are using firewoods or different type of actually jungle productions or forest products. At that time, we need timber, we need the animals for food, pelts, and of course, for sports. We are also using them for our entertainment. Continues the argument. The argument is there. Well, the forests have always been generous with their riches. Forests are generous with their riches. Riches in the sense resources. The resources must be utilized properly and the resources must be restored for future use and the resources must be respected for sustainable development. We are using the forest products, but we must not use it completely. We must have to, when we are cutting down trees, at that time, we must have to follow certain principles relating to afforestation. When we are cutting trees, we must have to plant trees, then and there must be balanced. So, well, the forests have always been generous with their riches. So far as they are able, they are not limited. Actually, everything can be consumed, but it needs our sensitive mind, it needs our considerable preoccupants by which we can have certain type of a judgment relating to self-consciousness. How we must be conscious to utilize it properly and also its savings. So students, they are being exhausted at ever increasing speed and the habitats of innumerable other species of both flora and fauna are destroyed as a side effect. So listen students, you must be knowing about climatic change. You see, and you have learned about global warming. Each and everything has its impact on environment. You see, different type of trees are preoccupied on the basis of a climatic condition. They must not be planted in each and every space, in each and every environmental condition, but it needs certain type of particular climatic designs. So we must predict that different type of animals are also existable according to that. You can't settle different type of animals in a particular place. The climatic condition must be supportable to them. And when we are actually destroying the forest-like structures, when we are destroying the forest as well as our animal, as well as our flora and fauna, at that time, what happens to us? Both our ecological system is getting to be imbalanced. I was also telling you in the last class for our students, when there is less number of vultures, at that time, we are lacking the scavengers. We are also making the environment on certain. On this sense, we are not clarifying ourselves how we can protect the animal-like structure or the actually plant-like structure and the plant life as well as the animal life, those are helping us in all to life and how they can be protected through proper judgment on the basis of a common idea as well as a common sense. It is to be restored by the common people by certain common awareness programs, and it is something extraordinary. So far as the humanitarian value system is concerned. So students, everything has its limits. Excess no excuse. We must have to use anything. Nature has provided us a benedictory resources, but those resources are to be properly implemented. Those resources are to be properly utilized, by which it must be useful us for us as well as our future generation. Listen here. When we are exhausting everything else, when we are utilizing everything else without any common awareness, at the time it instills the idea that everything must be Listen, so students, me, many of you will know because you have already contributed to our efforts that the World Wildlife Fund is currently supporting more than 30 important conservation projects in various rainforest areas. The funds Save the Tiger appeal for 4 lakh raised to a magnificent 5 lakh 60,000, and government responded not only by establishing reserves but also controlling the trade in skins. Listen, Chital, necessity is the mother of invention. Why we are killing animals? Why we support deforestation? But when we suffer a lot, at that time, common awareness program is there to support afforestation. Listen, students, and there is a saying also: responsibility breeds one success. If you are responsible man, then you must have consciousness. Suppose for attending close to second year council examination, you must have consciousness or awareness from till now, and that is nothing but our responsibility, and that responsibility will make us success. In a similar fashion, actually, afforestation is not a matter of one day. You must be knowing Rome was not built in a day. It needs a gradual process in order to master down anything else, students. It is a long process you must have to pursue. It is not a one-handed or single-handed describing element where we can pursue our goal. So, when man is killing tigers, at the present scenario, we are not killing tiger. After independence, we are not killing tiger. You see, when Society for Prevention towards Cruelty of Animals was created, after that we are restricting ourselves. The forest department also restricting the killing of tigers or different type of animals for profession as well as for free. So my point of view is that many of you will know because you have already contributed to our efforts. The protection of the environment is nothing but the protection of all-round development for environment. If the development would be there, it would be supported by almost all. Onisa and Sital will support it, as well as almost all who are attending the classes, the rising stars of learning in India, those are on online classes, they must support it as well as the teacher also. And the guardians, almost all the environmental entities, those who are governing the environment, those who are the component of the environment, because we must have to save our environment through skill as well as through schooling activities. It ought to be dealt with different type of elements where each and everything must be given predominance. You see, students, when we are talking about World Wildlife Fund, contributions are there for the protection of animals. You must be there, students. You must be knowing about particular at Naya Bazaar. There is certain rehabilitation center for dogs. You must be knowing about Chaudhary Bazaar. There is particular rehabilitation for cats and other animals. So our point of view is that each and every animal must be protected. We must not protect tigers and also irresponsible for the other animals. So the fund is there currently supporting more than 30 important conservation projects. Conservation projects are actually essential for protecting the animals. But student, you see, two factors are responding to human behavior. One is natural, another is artificial. Natural relationship is good. Natural love is good, but artificial entities are transitory. You see, conservation of projects are there. You must be knowing about the deer park near Barabat Stadium. so many deer are available there. But students, when they are in the jungle, when they are in the forest area, try to find out their developmental potentialities. When they are actually kept under one type of a confined area and try to understand their health or hygienic conditions. And one feeling is there, your life in the hostels, your life at home, there is heaven and hell difference. Heaven and hell difference. The students now at the present scenario, those who are actually attending the online classes, they're at home, particularly their mind is refreshed. They're actually getting the motherly affection. Try to understand my point of view. What they are getting about that is natural to them. But they are also getting the facility in the hostel students. What happens to be? It is not as flexible. It is not as compatible. It is not as palatable to natural residents at all. So students, when we are getting any type of funds for the protection of tigers, the quotation may be here, save the tiger and save environment. It doesn't mean only one entity is available. Only the tigers can be protected and other animals can be restored here, can be extinguished. No, no, no. We must have to take the response by which each and every living lives, and you may be considering about the plant life as well as the animal life must be protected. So students, government present to be or certain type of conservative entities prevent to be take certain type of remedial measures by which their quantum may be increased, can be increased from 4 lakhs to a magnificent of a 5 lakh 60,000. So government responded not only by establishing results, but also controlling the trade in schemes. That is the profession. This skin profession is not a business or occupation of the 21st century. It has a long history. Its presumption is from ancient to modern. And we must have to take remedies certain by which the future generation may not face the burden. So students, try to understand my point of view. We need the land for people, runs the argument. Each and every paragraphs must be taken into account and thereafter we must have to synchronize which part will be placed in a actually systematical order. So students, we need the land for people. Land is needed for people and students you must be knowing about. A country is developed because it is developed in industry. Unless and until we have the presumption to make ourselves certain type of beneficiaries for the development of industries, we must not question. You see the European countries, they are advanced in the sense they are developed industries. But students, at the initial stage, that the industry ought to be finalized on the basis of one's raw materials. You see, when we like our land area, our earth is our mother. It ought to be respected. It ought to be responded. It ought to be protected. Any type of actually pollution, any type of dismantled activities. So we need the land for people. Land must be given the first and the foremost resources by which we can develop our standard of living. Well, many people already inhabit the tropical forest belts. Their negative tribes have their own low impact lifestyle, hunting, trapping, practicing a little cultivation, perhaps not at least. It is nevertheless a lifestyle that doesn't endanger the forest ecosystem. We stress a little cultivation because paradoxically, the forest soil is often infertile. Trees and green plants thrive on the compost of their fallen foliage, which is rapidly broken down and recycled as nutrients. Listen, everything of a natural product having certain type of a natural benediction for the nature created natural environment. This environment must be protected both by natural creation and how we can utilize it actually students. See, each and every instinct of a natural product has certain benefit for our environment. Tree You see, the life of a tree is something prejudging to the life of a human being. You see, students, most of the people are a lover of trees. They actually profess themselves in gardening. Different type of trees are planted on one's roof, in one's garden, or in a forest area, or in different type of plantation projects. But we are conducting in the month of July and August for plantation students. Actually, when you found any type of a sapling, when the tree grows up, it gives us a sufficient enthusiasm, and our life is heightened, our life is enlightened, and we become delighted that I have planted a tree and the tree has grown up. So most of the actually our auspicious as well as holiest as well as our pious programs are developed by the worshipping of trees. You must be knowing about the bell trees, you must be knowing about the name trees, so on and so forth, students, and you must be knowing about our banyan trees having recognized as of nationalistic value. So we need the land for people. Actually, how this land must be beneficial for the people, beneficial for the society, beneficial for the state, beneficial for the environment, and beneficial for the generations to come only through sustainable development. And what type of a pre-acquisition and what type of a proceedings we must have to take here. So the question is about how to develop, how to stop the business relating to skin, the trade relating to different type of skins. Actually, students, when one becomes a thief, everybody blames him. And we are sending him to jail. But students try to understand my point of view. Why one is professed on thefting activities? Situation makes a man philosopher. Suppose anybody will not get money to rehabilitate his family, to maintain his family, to maintain his livelihood. And when that person will suffer a lot, any type of anti-social element will come to his mind. That is a saying, and you must respond to that. And that saying is a devil's mind, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. An idle mind is a devil's workshop in the sense when we are becoming actually unemployed. We are not professing ourselves, we are not getting anything else to observe, to maintain our family, to maintain our social status. At that time, we are becoming jealous. We try to find out any type of occupation by which we can profess ourselves. And a different type of occupation and a different type of professions will sustain our livelihood to certain extent. You see, some people are becoming terrorists. Situation made them terrorists. Some people are becoming, you must be knowing about Maharshi Valmiki and his life history. The situation made him to become a cruel, and after some time he became a kind-hearted personality. You must be knowing about the great Ashok. He was in his initial stage he was called as Chandasaka, but after certain time he was changed himself as Chandasaka, actually Dharmasaka, relating himself to Buddhism. So our culture, our tradition, our employment, and our profession most of the time compels us to do what thing we will have to profess and to do what things which is better for us and for our betterment. We are creating annihilation towards the society as well as environment. That's why students, a person is professing himself with skills. So skill development actually there and trade in skill is there and the actually different type of items made of skin are also there. So in order to protect animal life, in order to make success Project Tiger, specific governmental activities must be implemented, governmental proceedings must be suggested, But non-governmental organizations must come to the forefront, and you must be knowing about the tribal people, those who are needing actually maximum to maintain their basic needs. They must be well cultured. They must be actually giving their self realization, self potentiality only through self employment. If they can earn their livelihood from different sources, why they can kill a tiger? While they can trade in skins, and at least students, certain type of developmental activities must be there, supplementation must be there, substitution must be there, by which the trade in skins must be changed to the trade in agriculture. We have a vast of lands, that is the proper, and I mean huge resource. That's why in the line we need the land for people. The land is of the people, and the land must be utilized for the proper benefit of the people. That is the message of fourth paragraph. Then students, I am also suggesting, if we have not much more resources to maintain our industry, land is there, land can produce, land can assure, land can procure, land can manifest land products. Land like products, and particularly the land benefits certain type of products, and the best one is agriculture. When we are procuring agricultural products, or when we are developing our agriculture as well as cultivation, at that time students, agricultural products must be considered as the basic raw material for agro-based industries. When we establish industries, we must have to coagulate the idea, we must have to manifest the idea that we are going here and there for raw materials. And the material for basic agro industries are nothing but agro-based products. And that must be utilized, and that must be gained from our land. So students, when we consider certain type of developmental projects, when we are consider deforestation for our developmental projects, we must have to make our soil benedictory. Our soil must be utilized for the betterment of the future generations and for the present efforts. Erosion and flooding also tend to follow these traditions. So students, erosion and flooding also tend to follow deforestation. When deforestation is there, erosion must be there, soil erosion, and flooding is also responsible for that purpose. The so-called jungle of a popular imagination, the tropical rainforest belt stretching around our planet at the equator, has taken some 60 million years to evolve to its present state. It is quite simply the most complex, most important ecosystem on Earth. So students, when we focus for the developmental presumptions which are going about, for the developmental projects, what we have imagined, and you must be knowing about, development is supplemented, development is well helped, development is welcomed by imagination. Your imagination is vital. While you are writing essays, at that time, the process of imagination helps you a lot. And your imagination ought to be particular. Your exam imagination must be exam oriented, in the sense you must have to follow your condition, you must have to follow your intellect, by which your explanation must be perfect. Suppose you must have to write an essay relating to plot. Your imagination must be preoccupied regarding to that. And if your imagination will be relating to the car festival or Ratha Jatra of Lord Jagannath, it would be proper. You must have to be imagine what is needed for you, and for your better imagination, there is need of proper concentration. If you are concentrating in a particular topic when you are writing an essay relating to flood, its causes and what type of remedies you must have to take, at that time Your orientation must be imagined properly. So try to predict from the present scenario how we can plant trees. Each and every student must have to take this in their mind that plantation is one of the better, actually, improvisation by which human society can be well benefited. So from the initiation, we must have to take certain type of remedial measures by which plantation must be there and plantation or green life must be protected wholeheartedly by each and every person. So the paragraph tells that the so-called jungle of a popular imagination, everybody are saying at the present scenario, students, everybody is saying that there is extreme heat in the offline as well as in the online classes. Heat is always there. But the thing is that we are only shedding our crocodile tears. We are not taking presumption. If each and everybody, at least, Sital, you must have certain type of actually flowering trees on your roof, and that must be enhanced. Try to maximize it. Honestly, you must have to take the remedies by which the plant life of your actually, so far as your residence is concerned, how you can protect yourself. Hmm. This is the actually proceedings. Each and everybody must be trained about the benefit of our environment. It must be done intellectually. It must be done ignorantly. It must be done superficially. It must be done divinely. Everybody else, it must start from the corner of the room towards the corner of the nation. It must start from the scientist or environmentalist. A scientist or environmentalist must take measures for the protection of the environment. Similarly, a person actually taking cattle into the field, a cowherd, must have to take the responsibility that while I am actually maintaining our life by taking certain type of military materials or taking the cows into the field, how I can protect the essential trees or plantations or leaves or siblings which are here and there. And if they are to take measure, they must have certain type of awareness programs, how the trees will support us in the future. And if such type of extreme heat will continue, I have told you earlier, towards 2050, it would be unsustainable. It would be very dangerous for the survival of humankind. So students, around our planet at the equator has taken some 60 million years to evolve its present state. It is quite simply the most complex, most important ecosystem. We are just thinking of our residents. We are just thinking of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. We are just thinking about the governmental orders. We are just thinking ourselves about anything written in books. But we are not maintaining our common sense. We are not maintaining. You see, when we see an animal, when we see an animal, at that time, one type of entertainment or encouragement comes to the mind of our children. Elephants are moving here and there in the jungle. Elephants are kept within the cage. But when there will be actually sufficient number of elephants, it would be beneficial for preserving our ecosystem. And there is also one type of a balance, students. When deer-like animals are being increased or their number or quantum is increased at that time, in order to maintain that balance in the forest, tiger or lion-like animals must be generated. Their quantum must be increased in order to maintain the balance. Suppose students, if almost all the people would be vegetarian, try to consider my point of what the chickens will do, what the goats will do. The fishes must be here and there. While you are visiting Chilika, they must attack your boat or sea. I mean, they will attack your launch. So there is one type of balance, students. It's ecology. One type of equilibrium is established, and you must be knowing it from your 10th or 9th standard students food chain. Food chain is there, and nature has created us. Nature has created rice. We have not created rice. Still then, we are cultivating for that purpose. So students, everything is there. But when we are talking about the scenario or the present situation of equator, in a similar fashion, we must have to take certain type of presumption, not on the equatorial region students, from our neighboring houses, from our villages, from our blocks, from our panchayats, from our districts, so on and so forth. Suppose for the success of a plantation, it must be developed from the rudimental level, from the base level, from the basic. Start it from your local level. If your village became a village having sufficient plantation, your village people, that means your villagers supported plantation. At that time, your village was self-sufficient and your village could build up the gap between other villages also. And when your, after the development of village, so far the plantation is concerned, when your panchayat will be developed, so far as plantation is concerned, or if your panchayat get certain type of a reward relating to afforestation, development of the village correspondingly compels one for the development of panchayat. When there will be plantation in the panchayat level, students, you must be remarkable in the block level. Your block would be really environmental. And students, if your block would get certain type of reward relating to or praising or worth praising or worth anxiety relating to self-sufficiency or for the protection of environment, however, at that time, your district will be centered there. First, develop your village in afforestation. Thereafter, your panchayat, thereafter your block, thereafter your district, thereafter your state. In a similar fashion, after state, our country, after our country, throughout the world. So it is not a concentration faculty. Member can focus on the books. Protect our environment, protect our environment, protect our environment, nothing can do. Actually, students, try to be very practical. It can fulfill our demand. In the morning, we must have to take the tiffin. It is chutney sambar. If you read it on our books, just go through the books. Tiffin, idli, sambar, chutney. It will fulfill our stomach. It can actually fulfill our needs. In a similar fashion, if relating to afforestation, anything can be written in our books, students particularly. So far as page number 100 is concerned, we need to fulfill our demand, nothing else. You must have to be practical. You must have to purchase or make little sambar at chutney at home, and thereafter you can feel the taste, and it will feel your contents and feel satisfaction, students. So in a similar fashion, life is very complex and you must have to take several measures which are in a positive attitude as well as attribution for the development of our instinct. So for us, good husbandry, forest ecology, wisdom in planning, less greed and stupid. Let's say students, good husbandry, wisdom in planning, less greed and stupidity could keep man and the delicates to be vanquished, replaced with its own constructions. In the past 20 years, the rate of violence has increased a lot, and huge tracts of our beautiful forest and irrepressible uh, treasure, house of living things, has given way often to violence. The evidence is that man will redouble his destructive efforts until the forest system is smashed and the jungle will function to listen, students. So for us, good husbandry, we must do another paragraph in this meanwhile, students, but we must have to focus on good husbandry. First, ecology, wisdom in planning less greed and stupidity could keep man and the delicate rainforest relationship in balance indefinitely. And this is our last great storehouse, our last wonderland. You see, students, there is need of a good husband for the protection of a human life. We need, in order to make, you must be knowing about our basic needs: food, clothing, shelter, education, and sanitation. You see, students, most of the guardians, most of the teachers, most of the political leaders, most of the scientists, most of the doctors, so on, all the people of the world at the present scenario are suffering from different type of deficiencies in their body. Almost all have a certain type of diseases in their body. And in order to be sure, so far as our sustainment of life is concerned, we must have to take balanced diet. We are not getting students pure diet. Why the students are suffering from different type of diseases at the present scenario? Relating to acidity, you must be known. Relating to blood pressure, relating to diabetes, relating to different type of cardiological failure students. The thing is that students, we are not getting at the present scenario pure food. We are taking adulterated. Everything is in our environment polluted, and the proper benediction or for the proper benefit of our lifestyle, we must have to take the presumption whereby we can see the assurance of human knowledge. So, in order to make our life sustainable, we must have to actually replan something else relating to good husbandry. So, you try your best. We find in Odisha different type of cows. They are not sufficient so far as milk production is concerned. If you consider the case of Haryana, if you consider the case of Chandigarh, if you consider the case of Punjab, there is actually maximum milk production centers. And you must be knowing about Hisar of India. Very reputed so far milk production is concerned. So milk is essential for the sustainability of a human hygiene sector. And in order to protect our actually immunity, in order to protect our sustaining ability students, we must have to focus on taking balanced diet, and milk takes the preoccupant. So consider good husbandry if we have a different type of actually milking cattle. For that purpose, students, there is maximization of plant life, and there is also need of a proper rehabilitation or actually states for them, how they can be well settled in what place and how they can actually provide of the beneficiaries by which we can maintain our life. And you must be knowing about when we are taking care of a proper husbandry sector or animal husbandry or anything, you can take into consideration if a proper measures could be obtained, if proper measures must be implemented side by side, there will be protection of animal life as well as also plant life. Students, 1 minute. Just 1 minute. So students, welcome to when we focus on actually animal husbandry or a different type of actually animals, those who are making us a self-sufficient. And you must be students knowing most of the actually those people who are actually professing themselves for cattle rear, they are also maintaining their livelihoods. And one of the actually better assets so far as Indian or actually rural life is concerned, actually cattle rearing is also beneficiary for the people so far as their livelihood is concerned, for their earning is concerned, and for health sufficiency is concerned. Then students, home of man builder has tragically always been seen the jungle as something alien and environment to be vanquished, replaced with his own constructions. In the past 20 years, the rate of pillage has increased alarmingly. Huge tracts of verdant, beautiful forests, and irrepressible treasure house of living has given way of to. The evidence is that man will redouble his destructive efforts until the forest system is smashed and the jungle will function no more. Another thing is that students come of favor. That means so many people are there. Actually, they are very antagonistic in their attitude so far as forest life is concerned. They feel that this forest is our, and our presumption is that each and every day we must have to disrupt the forest elements. Suppose you must be knowing about forest provides everything else. So many people are there, they are taking the branches of the trees for their profession or to maintain their livelihood. Some people are there also taking the fruits of the trees to maintain their actually to fulfill their starvation. And some people are there to take the food, take the fruits and to sell it to maintain their livelihood. Some people are also there taking the leaves of the trees to profess them or to sell them in the market and to fill their stomach or to avoid their hungriness. They are taking their diet by selling the leaves. So when we consider each and everything, and you must be knowing about the timber is used for our firewood as well as the construction of houses, and most of the trees are there, the roots are also used. Even the roots are used for herbal or any type of treatment so far as the medicure is concerned for medicines also. So when certain people consider themselves that we are using this forest for our personal benefits, they are misutilizing forest products. They are actually making it in a improper way, and by which where we can presume ourselves that these products must be protected, this product like substances must be protected, because when we cut down maximum number of useful trees, you see, at least you must be knowing about the holy tree tulsi. Tulsi tree is there, each and everybody in a house worship it. It has also certain type of benefits so far as social life is concerned. And also certain people are there making, you must be knowing about, most of the people are there near Jagannath temple in Puri students. What happens to be so many people are making different type of garlands that is making of tulsi. So when we consider about bell leaves, it is also useful so far and maximum people are professing it for their personal benefit. But students, we can use it. It has a certain type of a limit. But if you cut down the trees, what type of a benefit we will get from that? It is nothing but the greediness of a human being. You must knowing about a story. A hen was giving every day one egg every day. But one type of a greedy person thought that if I actually bring almost all the eggs from the stomach of the hen, and actually he killed the hen and cut it into pieces. There was no availability of eggs. So it is one type of a procedure. It is one type of presuming order. You must have to first maintain your sustenance relating to your psychology. That how we must be conscious about almost all the elements of the environment of nature would be protected in a better way. So for that purpose, when we are cutting down trees, when we are actually presumer or homo faber, that means when we are actually annihilating this forest life, one type of a thinking must be there, one type of a imagination must be there, and intention must be taken into gratification that this environment is nothing but the contribution of nature. Forest like are nothing but the contribution of nature. So when we protect our nature means we protect our mother. So our environment must be protected naturally through humanitarian instinct, through humanitarian condition. Treatment, ill treatment, which is preferable for all of us. Treatment, proper treatment must be given to human beings, proper treatment must be given to most like personalities, where the obligation of a social order, the obligation of a social environment, the obligation of a natural instinct must be taken into consideration without any hesitation. So students, now we ask you to help us on our biggest ever international project, a 2-year appeal to raise half-million. The money will be used to sustain national parks and reserve within the tropical rainforest belt. In countries around the globe, research, planning, manpower, equipment, all will and the X, bulldozer, the greater and the lesser bureaucrat, with his deadly pen have already seen to that. We must save enough to preserve them as a living organic ecosystem. The most remarkable, listen students, everything must be helped. Any type of a project, any type of a self-sufficient authority must find the reclamation on bureaucrat ideologies. First of all, it ought to be done to pay and pay. And thereafter, students, common seminars, common type of, social welfare programs, certain type of rehabilitating programs must be there, because when we are creating project, it is guided by certain type of organization, and that organization must be people oriented organization, self-sufficiency organizations by which the people can save, get their employment, the people can save their earning for future, and the people can save the environment, both, socially, politically, because I am talking about environmental politics, politically, so on and so forth. What the factors are there by which it can provide benefit for the generation to come. It is vital for the generations to come. Okay, students, with this, we came to the conclusion, and almost all the students are well appreciated for joining the classes. And since it is a day of immortal history students, so we are waiting for the +2 results and for the benefit and for the remarkable success of your senior ones. And have a nice day to almost all you students. Bye.
ଆଶା ମହାନ୍ତି ସବୁ ଯାକ ମହାନ୍ତି ଠକ। ଆଦ୍ୟାଶା ବଞ୍ଚିଛୁ ନା ଶୋଇକି ପାଠ ପଢୁଛୁ? କହିଲ ଆଦ୍ୟାଶା ମରିଗଲୁ?
ସାର୍ ଅଛି।
ପୁରା ଶୋଇକି ପାଠ ପଢୁଛୁ, ଟୋନ ଶୁଭାଯାଉଛି।
ସାର୍ ଆଜି ଛୁଟି ଅଛି
ଆମେ ଯେମିତି
ବାବାଙ୍କର,
ସବୁ
ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଲାଗୁଛି ମୁଁ ଶୋଇକି ପଢୁଥିବି?
ଅନ୍ଧାରରେ ରଖିକି ଯୋଉ ଆବସେଣ୍ଟ ହଉଛ, ବୁଝିହେଲା? ଗୋଟେ ସବୁ ଫାଇନ୍ ଆଦାୟ କରାଯାଏ। ଅନିଶା ବୈଷ୍ଣବୀ ନାହିଁ, କୃତିକା absent, ପ୍ରିୟଙ୍କା ନାୟକ absent, ଶୀତଲ ଆସି, ଶ୍ରୁତି, ସ୍ନେହା ଜୟସ୍ୱାଲ absent, ତନୁଶ୍ରୀ ତନୁ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
ହଁ ଇଏ ଠିକ ଅଛି, ଇଏ ଆକ୍ଟିଭ ଅଛି। ଆଦ୍ୟାଶା ମହାନ୍ତି ପୁରା ଶୋଇକି ଅଛି।